Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be breaking down an investigative tension cue that I made in the style of Cliff Martinez, who wrote the score for the oh so trendy Contagion. Now obviously if you're watching this around the time that I recorded this video, you'll know that the movie Contagion has had a recent resurgence, and therefore there has been some increased demand for cues in this type of style. So let's talk about what kind of attributes the score to that movie had. So first and foremost, almost all of the tracks in the movie kind of had a pulsing bass or pulsing synth at some point. So I started with a pulsing bass from Native Instruments FM8, and it sounded like this. So right away, that bass alone sets the tone for the whole cue. You know it's gonna be this dark and droney kind of mood. And so once I laid that down, right away I knew I needed some creepy higher end spectrum stuff. So I had two leads here that I so aptly titled Eerie Lead and Eerie Lead 2. You know, yeah, save your creativity for writing the music, right? So the second part is when the Eerie Lead's gonna come in. And you can feel those ones there, they really start to build up the tension. After that, the second most important part that I noticed in a lot of the tracks on the soundtrack, there's kind of like an arpeggiated synth. It's difficult to choose one that's not going to sound too dated, too Stranger Things-esque, if you will. On the fourth section, I brought that in, and I already have a hi-hat coming around here too. So let me show you. I believe this was an FM8 one, or it might have been a... No, so I actually used Analog Dreams. Cool thing about this one is that it two different synths, and then you can control the blend. That synth sounded like this, and I used the arpeggiator from Logic. Okay, so there you might notice some sort of sweeping happening. So I actually automated the cutoff for that synth just to keep some type of movement and development to the piece. All right, and then after that, I brought in a piano. I noticed a decent chunk of the stuff on the soundtrack had a piano in it. So my go-to for piano is Native Instruments The Giant. There's nothing that sounds better than this one. If there is, let me know. That next section sounds like this with the piano in it. Ooh. In that same section, I also brought in some light kick drums. So with this type of stuff, typically it's not going to be hard hitting drums. This is going to be used for more of like an underscore thing. I think that if you were to have harder hitting drums, that usually leads to like a chase scene type of vibe, going to war type of vibe. So these were the drums that I used. Actually was just a loop pattern from Damage, which is another amazing library by Heaviosity that comes with Native Instruments Complete. And that sounded like this. What I did there was I did a low cut up to 69 hertz because I'm immature, and basically what that did was just kind of took away a little bit of the hard oomph to the drum, so it sat a little lighter in the mix, because you can hear the difference like if I were to run it without that cut. There's a lot more sub frequencies going on, and I don't want it to mix with the pulsing bass because I really want that to be the driving oomph factor to the track. So after that section, I actually changed the key and introduced another layer of drums here, which I will bet that I got from Damage. Yes. So those ones here, let me solo those ones. Those ones sounded like this. When it comes to adding rhythmic texture to tension cues, Damage is just such a go-to that I can't tell you how many times I've used it when building these type of cues. And then lastly, in the final section, I switched up the ARP synth for another one here. I believe it was also from Analog Dreams, yep. And I did some automation on there again with the cutoff. That one sounded like this. So just little subtle automations like that, filter sweeps. With Analog Dreams, you could use sweeping between the A and the B, so you get the different sounds of the synthesizers. It just really goes a long way for pushing the cue forward and adding dynamics to it. And then I also switched up the piano. So if you remember, the original piano from the Giant sounded like this. So a pretty clean piano. Obviously I have a lot of reverb on it. And then I moved to, this one was a piano from Heaviosity's Evolved Mutations too. I've used this quite a bit. I think this is the Frozen piano. No, I went for the Chiminator. The Chiminator. And so this one sounds like this compared to the relatively clean one from the Giant. So again, just adding more texture to the instrumental, especially in that last piece, because if you want it to have that developmental arc, you kind of want it to feel a little bit louder at the end and then have it end properly. So again, when it comes to instrumental cues, guys, it's just all about not being too repetitive. It's all about building upon what you already have as the foundation, introducing new layers, introducing new sounds. Key changes are really useful, rhythmic or tonal things that drive the instrumental forward. In the case that it would be used for more than a 7 to 15 second span, like maybe this is under an entire investigation montage or something like that in a crime show. For instance, at the start of the movie Contagion, there's a lot of movement going on. The one character at the airport and showing all the people that touched her glass at the airport. So there's a lot of movement going on. So having something like this that's driving that, building up the tension because you know that something bad is happening, it really is important. So there you have it. That is my take on a piece of music written for the Contagion soundtrack. This is obviously something that I'm going to use to pitch to music libraries and TV shows, etc. If you haven't listened to anything from that soundtrack, I definitely suggest going to check it out. It's really well done. He uses a nice variety of synth, piano, and just kind of pulsing stuff that really builds the tension up. So let me know what you guys think of this in the comments below. And also let me know if you rewatched Contagion in the past couple of weeks, and let me know if it scared you, because it seems all too realistic as to what's going on right now. So without further ado, I'm going to leave you with the entire track played out at the end. Thanks for watching, and make sure to subscribe for more videos.